Hey folks, Levi here once again. Yo, is this okay? Maybe I'll open my blinds up a little bit. Let me do that real quick. Is that okay? Oh, let's see. Is that okay? Is this, well, that's not too distracting, is it? Hopefully, I hope it's not. Sorry, but I don't really have any. It's only what I have is right here. But anyway, I'm gonna turn that off. Anyway, guys, hey folks, hope everyone's doing well. Hope you had a good week. Hope you had a good 4th of July. And anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed my review of Batman Forever on Monday. That is on my channel. And welcome back to another Batman review. And this time I'm reviewing the last Joel Schumacher Batman film. This film is infamous, and a lot of people hate it, consider it the worst Batman film. But I don't hate this movie, and of course, I am reviewing today. I'm reviewing the 1997 superhero film. That is the 4th installment and the final installment of the Tim Burton Joel Schumacher franchise, and that is Batman and Robin. This is the 2-disc special edition. I got this on Amazon a few years ago. Don't remember. Maybe when I was in high school, but anyway. I did kind of grow up with this movie. I probably did see it when I was very little and watched it on Peachtree TV and enjoyed it. But I know a lot of people hate this movie. But again, I don't think it's, in my opinion, but let me speak. I don't think it's that bad. For me, this film it's not a good movie. It's so bad it's good, in my opinion. For me, it's a movie that is so bad it's good. I can laugh at it for what it is. It's really family friendly. It is very cheesy and corny. It's not a good movie, but overall I can have fun with it, and I've seen a lot of worse movies. I can name a whole lot of movies that I'd rather watch than this. There's only one Batman movie I hate, and it's not this. But anyway, we'll get to that review of that movie someday down the road. But anyways, guys, so let's start with the review, shall we? And I'll talk about the movie itself. Pretty much with the box office success of Batman Forever, Warner Brothers immediately commissioned a sequel. So you see that immediately. Pretty much from what I heard when Batman Forever came out, made money, Batman and Robin was right around the corner. To me, this is what happened with this franchise: is that Warner Brothers, toy companies, since Batman was selling toys, I think the studio interfered in this movie, and Batman and Robin rushed right into production. They hired director Joel Schumacher again, just for other dudes the following August. They asked Schumacher if he wanted to do it. He signed this contract, so he was already on the deal to do this movie. But I don't think he really planned to make it with Batman. He does apologize for this movie, but I've never blamed Joel Schumacher for this movie, but that's just me. Anyway, it was considered the best fast-track production for a June 1997 target release date, which is a break from the usual 3-year gap between films. But this film didn't have a gap between. This came right after Batman and Robin. Schumacher wanted to pay homage to both the broad camp style of the 60s television series and the work of Dick Spring. The storyline of Batman and Robin was conceived by Schumacher during pre-production on A Time to Kill, which is a good movie, better film. Portions of Mr. Freeze's backstory were based on the Batman animated series episode of Heart of Ice, written by Paul Dini. Goldsman, however, expressed concerns about the script during pre-production discussions with Schumacher. Well, Chris O'Donnell is the only one here that comes back. He comes back for the sequel. Comes back as Dick Grayson, aka Robin. He's the only one too. And Val Kilmer decided not to respond to the role of Batman. They weren't angry at him, but as Joel said, they're angry because he didn't tell them. But he was doing a film that was based on a TV series called The Saint. That might have been from the Roger Moore show. I don't know. But heard that movie wasn't good either. Schumacher made the hit difficulty working with Kilmer forever. He sort of quit, and we sort of fired him. Schumacher would later go on to say that Kilmer wanted to do work on the Desert Island of Dr. Moore because Marlon Brando was cast in the film. Kilmer said he was not aware of the fast-track production and was already committed to The Saint. David Duchy claims he was considered for the role of Batman, but he joked they did not cast him because his nose was too big. Schumacher originally had a strong interest in casting William Baldwin in Kilmer's place, but George Clooney was cast instead. I think he said he saw Clooney on ER. George Clooney at the time was on ER, and he did a movie called From Dusk Till Dawn, which came out the year before, 1996, and that was an awesome movie, so maybe that's what landed him the part, Because again, I'm not going to get into all the casting choices, but he does look good on the cowl, and he does have the chin for Batman. Schumacher believed Clooney could provide a lighter interpretation of the character than Michael Keaton in Batman and Batman Returns and Clint Kilmer. The shooting schedule allowed Clooney to simply work on ER without any scheduling conflicts. And the Dark Knight Shadows of the Bat, the cinematic of the Dark Knight, Schumacher said he was given the mandate by the studio to make the film even more chaotic. See? Warner Brothers Studio said make it more chaotic even compared to pretty much a toy commercial, because even Chris O'Donnell says here in an interview that, Batman Forever, I felt like I was making a movie, but with this film, I felt like I was making a toy commercial. Ed Harris, Anthony Hopkins, and Patrick Stewart were considered for the role of Mr. Freeze before the script was rewritten to accompany Arnold Schwarzenegger's casting. Schumacher decided that Mr. Freeze must be big and strong, like he was chiseled out of a glacier. Schwarzenegger was paid $25 million for the role, even though Arnold says in the interview that, he said that Joel Schumacher would not do the movie if he was not going to be in it, which I don't know if that's really true. I don't think Arnold, I think they would have done the movie anyway without you. Because there's other actors out there, you're not the only one that can actually play the character. Schumacher said that Mr. Freeze's arm was made by armor Terry English, who estimated the costume $0.15 million to develop and make. And I do like the makeup, I know people complain, but I do like the helmet of Mr. Freeze here. The costume does have the ice punch. Yeah, it's a pretty weak suit. And from what I heard, Arnold is not in the suit most time because Chris O'Donnell said that he would talk to Arnold on set, but he really never had any scenes with Arnold because a lot of the times it was a body double. So I'm like, really? I do agree with what Oliver Harper said in his review. For $25 million, yeah, I'd make him wear that suit as well. Like, really? $25 million? And he ain't gonna put on the suit. To prepare for the role, Schwarzenegger wore a bald cap after he declined to shave his head and wore a blue lead in his mouth. His process to make up wardrobe took 6 hours to apply each day. Thelma took the role of Poison Ivy because she liked the female characterization of the character. She had lunch with Joel Schumacher and talked about it. She told Joel, well, it's a good character you want to play. I'm like, am I interested? But she's like, no, this is a villainous role. So she decided to take the role. Alicia Silverstone was the only choice for the role of Batgirl. They brought Batgirl in here because I think the fans, especially female fans, wanted Batgirl in here. So, according to Schumacher, during the scene in which the customer was Riddler and Two-Facer scene, he was planning to put Poison Ivy and Mr. Freeze escaping from Arkham Asylum, but many other villains stole them from their cells. The scene was not included in the final film. Filming the original start date was August 1996, but photography actually began on September of 1996. Batman and Robin finished filming in late January 1997. 2 weeks ahead of the shooting schedule. The film was mostly shot at Warner Brothers Studios in Burbank, California. When comparing on work on Batman Forever, Donald explained, first movie felt the sharper, more votes, and this just felt like everything got a little softer on the second one. The first one I felt like I was making a movie. The second one, I felt like I was making a toy commercial. He also complained about the Robin costume, saying it was more involved and less comfortable than the one he wore in Batman Forever, glue mask on. His mask was glued on his face, and Clooney said that, the suits were very heavy, especially the capes, and that Clooney, just like Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer, when he wore the cowl, can't hear anything, can barely move his head, just can't hear nothing. According to John Clover, who played Dr. Jason Woodrow, Joel Schumacher was sent on a crane of the megaphone before each take. And remember, everyone, this is a cartoon. He didn't say to a commercial, folks. He said it's a cartoon. But they kind of, I'll get into explanation about it later. But who played Dr. Jason Woodrow? He also said that kissing that he had with Uma Thurman that it was a good couple takes. It was hard to act because that kind of set the tone for the film. Production designer Barbara Wang admitted her influence with the Gotham City design came from the neon Tokyo and Machine Age. Gotham was like a World Fair in Isman. O'Donnell said that despite hanging out with Schwarzenegger while set during promotion for the film as well, they never worked a single day together. This was achieved while stand-ins when the actors were not available. Stunt coordinator Alex Field talked to Silverstone to ride a motorcycle so that she could play Batgirl. So, and of course when Batman and Robin came out, it was tarnished, people hated it. Well, not tarnished, but hated, and, there was a plan for Batman Unchained with Scarecrow and some more, but Then we have a mail for the cast. You have Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dr. Victor Freeze, Mr. Freeze. George Clooney as Bruce Wayne, Batman. Chris O'Donnell as Dick Grayson, Robin. Uma Thurman as Dr. Pamela Isley, Poison Ivy. Alicia Silverstone as Barbara Wilson, Batgirl. Mark Guff as Alfred Pennyworth. John Simmons as young Alfred Pennyworth. Let's see, here's the Eric Lloyd. Oh, the kid that played Charlie. Okay, he's in here playing the young Bruce Wayne. Alicia Silverstone plays Barbara Wilson, Batgirl. Mark Guff and Bat Hingle, they come back as Alfred Pennyworth and Commissioner James Gordon. John Glover plays Dr. Jason Bourne. John Glover was over DC, like on Smallville, which I talked about on my channel. He played Lionel Luthor, the father of Lex Luthor, and he also played the Riddler. Was the Riddler in Batman the Animated Series. And he was also had a small part in RoboCop 2. Elaine McPherson as Julia Madison. I just remember her in a movie called The Edge, which came out the same year with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. Vivica K. Fox, Mr. Freeze. She plays Mr. Freeze's sexy assistant. Valeria Culbertson as Mr. Freeze. I butchered that. Jeeves Winston, the late Russell Jeeves Winston, played Bane. He also played in Bulletproof, starring Adam Sandler and Damian Wayans, which I think he's better in that movie. But anyway, Coolio appeared in the cameo at the start of the movie. The motorcycle race. As Jonathan Craig later saying he was part of his role of Scarecrow, but the sequel was cancelled. Batman Robin, of course, was directed by Joel Schumacher, written by Advocate Goldsman, produced by Peter McGregor Scott. Cinematography was by Stephen Goldberg, edited by Dennis Verkler and Mark Steven. Music is by Ellie Golenthal, who also did the music for Batman Forever. Pretty much plays the same cues and music scores here as he did in the first film. It was released June 20th, 1997. By the way, happy 25th anniversary to Batman and Robin. Just turned 25 this year. And it's 125 minutes long. The budget was $160 million. And at the box office, it made $238.2 million worldwide. Now, it is the most least successful Batman film, but it was not a flop. No, it wasn't. It still made money. Because, again, the film did have marketing, which I'll go ahead and talk about. You know, you had marketing, Taco Bell. You know, you had toy commercials for the characters and stuff, and you know, Taco Bell had cups for all the characters here, from Mr. Freeze, Robin, Batman, Batgirl, and Poison Ivy. You had Kellogg's Pop-Tarts for Batgirl, Batman, and Robin, and Mr. Freeze. This freaking phone would show it. Yeah. There was like a commercial with a kid, you know, saying, telling the cops, I'll fix it. You know, eating the Pop-Tart and telling the bat signal. And so, yeah, they made Pop-Tarts up of the characters. Just everything they could to market the film. The film was heavily marketed. You had a waffle commercial for it. You had other commercials, toys, and, you know, Taco Bell and everything. You know, like, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger had like an airplane that was, you know, that was painted of the movie, painted of this movie, of the film's poster on a plane. So, you know, and him and George Clooney, I think, were on Planet Hollywood, you know, just, you know, joking around about, you know, their Mr. Freeze and Batman suit. So, yeah, and Batman and Robin also had a video game that was on PS1, but I heard it was awful. I've looked up some of the graphics, I've looked up some of the game on YouTube, and it does look awful. Nothing I'd be really ever interested in playing. The sun starts coming up too much. Yeah, it's getting a little bright, yeah. Sorry, folks. Try to dim a little bit. Okay. I just want y'all to see me. I know my audio sucks, but I still want y'all to be able to clearly see me. I'm sorry. Anyway, the game uses elements of a sandbox. The player can either choose one of the film's three heroes, Batman, Robin, or Batgirl. Each character uses a unique vehicle. Batman drives his Batmobile, Robin drives the Batbird motorcycle, and Batgirl uses the Batblade. In the game, the player travels around Gotham City and completes various individual missions, such as preventing Mr. Freeze from robbing a bank. Most of the events are not triggered. Instead, each event occurs at a certain time. For example, Mr. Freeze's bank robbery occurs at 7 p.m. The player must find clues and discover the plot with the help of the Bat computer. If the player cannot find enough clues, the event occurs, failing the mission. Some situations are totally clear from the plot of the film, while others were conceived for the game. but that is the PS1 video game of the movie. And the film, I think, also has a comic book, just like Batman 89, Batman Returns, and Batman Forever. They're all comic books, which I would like to get one day, especially after Batman and Robin. But okay, let me describe the plot really quick. Pretty much this time around, with the plot synopsis of Batman and Robin is that this time around, Batman and Robin, who work as partners, this time they have to face off against Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy, who, are planning to take revenge on Gotham City, pretty much get revenge on Gotham City. Along the way, Alfred Pennyworth, their brother Alfred, he is dying from a certain cancer, so they're trying to save him. And also Batman and Robin are struggling to keep their partnership together because Poison Ivy, who was infected them with her love dust, they're fighting over her, and so they just have a hard time trusting each other. And also you have Alfred's niece. She's not Commissioner Gordon's daughter, but you have Barbara Wilson, who eventually becomes Batgirl, and she decides to team up, with Batman and Robin, and all three of them, the trio of Batman, Robin, and Batgirl, must stop Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy. And also Bane, who is just their pit bull, pretty much stop them from, destroying Gotham City, from killing everybody on there, from taking revenge on the world. They must stop them. So, it's a plot in a nutshell for you. Yeah. Talk about the movie itself, then give my final opinion. Again, sorry, I go off everywhere sometimes. I do that in my reviews. I just go everywhere. But again, I've seen worse films. I've seen a lot worse superhero movies than this, and some comedies and some other films. Every movie that I've rented on this channel that I've hated, I'd rather watch Batman and Robin over. I'd rather watch it over Tropic Thunder. I'd rather watch it over, probably X-Men Dark Phoenix, X-Men Apocalypse, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Probably Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. Probably watch it over that. Because I don't think that movie's that good, in my opinion. But, there's a lot of films, superhero movies that I could watch over. I could watch it over the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Yeah, I'd rather watch this, or I'd rather watch it over Ang Lee's Hulk. Sorry. Yeah. Rather watch it over Spawn or Steel, starring Shaquille O'Neal. Because those two films can't send me in. Those films are 10 times worse. Or Jonah Hex. I'd rather watch this than the MCU film Eternals. But that's just me. And again, I'm not going to name it, but I've seen worse films. But that's just me. So anyway, let's just get into the movie itself, okay? I just want to kind of mention that, bring that up. Alright. Alright. Alright, 18 minutes? Okay. So pretty much Batman and Robin opens up with, I do like the titles, when you see the bat signal and the freeze, it being frozen, and seeing all the actor's name. I like the opening title sequence, opening title sequence I thought was pretty good. And then Batman and Robin, you get them soon up. I know, you get the bat nipples and the bat cock shot and the bat ass shot, which is ridiculous, but you expect this movie, like I said, family friendly. Don't go into this movie expecting a masterpiece. Don't. Just you want to expect it's bad, but it's a blast, in my opinion. That's how I describe this movie. But anyway, that doesn't bother me. I just don't pay attention to it. But that was shoot up with their legs and the arms, with them putting their, the arms on and the mask. I'm putting his mask on, Batman punches Catwoman and grabbing their, their weapons, their gadgets, which I thought was cool. And then I seen Batman and Robin go up to the Batmobile and doing that stance, the camera panning over up to Batman and up to Robin, which I thought was cool. And George Clooney does look good in the cowl, and I do like Robin's mask. The suit is better in Batman. Robin's suit is better than Batman, but I like the suit here as well. I am not a fan of this Batmobile, though. Yeah, I don't like this Batmobile. From what I heard, they let some of the toy companies decide what the Batmobile. I'm like, no. But anyway. Batman, Robin says, I want a car. Just take the car. And Batman's like, this is why Superman works so long. And I get a laugh with it. I know people hate that, but I thought it was funny. You just kind of know what you're in for. Cheesy puns. That's what you're getting here. And Batman goes in his car. He's like, good luck, sir, Alfred says, and then Batman just waves at him and then leaves. I do like Robin's red motorcycle, which I thought was cool. He's like, don't wait up, Al, and then, Alfred's like, I'll cancel the pizzas, and then he's like, you just tell, Alfred's just like, I don't know, you can definitely tell something was wrong, that he's sick. Anyway, Batman and Robin drive down the Batcave, and they get a call from Commissioner Gordon, and Gordon says, Batman, there's no villain in Gotham City. He's at the museum. He's freezing the utilities. He's freeze some of the cops. He's calling himself Mr. Freeze, and Batman's like, Mr. Freeze, and they take off. And you go around the museum and you see, Arnold, Mr. Freeze, some of the cops shooting at Mr. Freeze, and Mr. Freeze just freeze him, which I thought was some good effects of the cops being frozen. And he's like, the Iceman cometh! And then they bring this cop, like, mercy! And Mr. Freeze is like, mercy? I'm afraid that my condition has left me cold to your beg of mercy. And tell like, no, shh, Mr. Freeze. And then Mr. Freeze, his plan is to steal these diamonds, and Mr. Freeze shoots the glass, and the glass is like, in this universe, everything freezes. And then all of a sudden Batman jumps to the skylight. And I know people don't like this, but hey, at least I can understand George Clooney's Batman voice. It's the corny thing for him to say, but it's like, hi Freeze, I'm Batman. And then slides down the shore and kicks Mr. Freeze, which that was a cool kick. Kicks his gun, and Batman does this quick flip jump all over back up. Catches Mr. Freeze's gun. Mr. Freeze just kind of throws him. He's like, you're not sending me back to cool. Then Robin jumps through the door, and Robin almost breaks a vase, and Batman grabs it, and Robin's like, I forget what Robin says, but Batman's like, you break it, you buy it. And Mr. Freeze, he wants to go get his gun, not take on Batman Robin himself, gets his man to come, like, get them, kill the heroes, yes, kill them all, kill them, And Mr. Freeze starts walking by Batman and Robin. I do think it was funny when the villains, they gang up on Batman and Robin, kind of like a hockey team almost, because Robin says, it's the hockey team from hell. They knock Batman and Robin down, Batman and Robin to kick them, and they have, I guess, bat skates or whatever. And Batman's like, Robin, you get the ice, I get the ice, man. I do like the funny entertainment fun like argue with them for the diamond, while Mr. Freeze gets his gun. Some cops are attacking. Freeze just punches him around and picks up a fat cop, and the cops like, Mr. Freeze picks him up, throws him to where he can get his gun. He's like, thanks, And Freeze goes back in his Freeze-mobile, gets that out. Batman and Robin, like when Robin, with the hockey sticks, knocks out Freeze's men, and Batman does some good kicks as well. Robin is like, Robin's able to get the diamond. He's like, I got my ice. Where's yours? And they run to Mr. Freeze, and Mr. Freeze is like, we'll kill the dinosaurs, the Ice Age! And shoots the ice, shoots the ice, sorry. Most of the dinosaur down falls apart, and then Robin does like this backflip or whatever, which I thought was cool. It's ridiculous. I can't really explain it, but how this film is. But anyway, Mr. Freeze is like, hit me, boys. And so one of his men, because Robin clumsily drops the diamond, and, Arnold, Mr. Freeze gets the diamond, catches, like, thanks for playing. And he's ready to take off, kind of like in his own spaceship or whatever. And, Batman goes to the hockey stick, is able to, use a batarang and able to, like a bat rope and get in there. And Mr. Freeze is like, I'm so glad you dropped in, and then punches Batman, starts it up. Robin sees this, and Robin is able to get, like, I guess, maybe magnets that he's able to stick onto the, bird as it goes through the glass. Batman tries to climb up to Mr. Freeze, but Mr. Freeze kicks him and freezes his arms. People say, well, he didn't freeze Batman. Well, he didn't really have to, because he says, what's the armor of Batman? The dawn of Batman. As you go up, the icy cold of space. At 30,000 feet, your heart will freeze and be no more. And gets ready to get out to escape. Robin's hanging on the side of the ship. The rocket. Mr. Freeze, he says, Batman's like, Freeze, you're mad. If this capsule explodes with father, it'll kill thousands. And Freeze doesn't care. Freeze is like, Freeze, no! And just jumps out, ejects out of there. Robin jumps over, like, Batman's like, Robin, what are you doing here? I thought you'd be at the back of the museum, burning up some things. Like, how about nice to see you? Save your, glad you're here to save my life. Then he has like maybe like a Robin heat gun or whatever. I'm not going to explain it, but she is able to shoot it off. And he's like, a bat bomb, it's like, and they go surfs up. They jump out of there, and I thought it was a cool CGI shot. I thought that was really cool. Definitely one of my favorite scenes when they jump out of there, And Batman was, while surfing on the door, is able to, jump and get Mr. Freeze. The diamond falls up, and Robin catches it, and Robin's like, yeah, and then goes sliding around. It's like, Cowabunga! Yes, cheese thing from the sake, but again, this movie, what do you expect? And then Mr. Freeze freezes the furnace, because Robin's like, he's freezing the furnace! And for Atlanta, they have to, get their batarangs and stuff out to shoot, When they chase Mr. Freeze to the doors, he closes on Batman, kind of enters Batman a little bit. Robin's like, I got him, and Batman's like, Robin, no! Robin jumps, and Mr. Freeze freezes him. He's like, stay cool, bird boy. And Batman comes over like, what will you do, Batman? Chase the villain or save the boy? This way you're weak. Your emotions make you weak. That's why this thing's mine. I'll kill you next time. And then he's able to get this freeze mobile over to knock some of the building down, and then freezes it, and it's like, to Batman, waves by, and Batman saves Robin's life by putting him in water, and then he's able to use like a bat heater to heat him up, and Robin's like, did we get him? And Batman's like, he just gives him that look, and next thing you know, then you end up in South Africa. South America, not Africa, South America. Dr. Pamela Isley, it's a company that works for Enterprise, does some work for there. Dr. Pamela Isley, who's a botanist, she loves plants, adores them, and Jason Boober, who played by John Glover, is doing these secret experiments with his film drug by using some of her work, but without her knowledge, when she's like, I would give a chance to Flora, to escape. Plants will be able to fight back. And he's like, Dr. Jason, what will proceed faster? Dr. Jason wouldn't be taken into his Gilgamesh schemes or whatever, she says. She is very over the top, a very awkward, irritating woman. And she's like, what is he doing in there? And she sneaks up, and she's kind of like hides an area. And he pretty much uses a venom drug, venom and steroids, and gets a serial killer murderer named Antonio Diego, and they put this mask on him and they turn him into Bane. I hated Bane in this movie, though. That's one thing I hate about this movie is Bane. Because he's like, Bane! And he just kicks some guys. Bane gets out, escapes from his chain, he's like, Bane! And then Jason Momoa sees Pamela's like, Dr. Isley! They cut the funny part. Our work is like, I could never do this without you. And the officer join me side by side. And she's like, and you corrupt my research and some magical scheme. When I get through, you won't get a job teaching high school chemistry. Do you hear me? You psycho! And, Dr. Woodrow's like, Jason Woodrow's like, sadly, I can respect your opinion. I can handle your rejection. But I'm afraid you'll have to die. And pushes her into the poison, puts some of the drugs upon her, and the poison gets to her, you think she's dying, but it's actually changing her body, as you find out later. And then we get a scene where Bruce and Dick are, there's a lot of egos, as Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson talking with Alfred, talking about Mr. Freeze's history, that he was Dr. Victor Freeze. I forget what else I said, but he was a doctor. He married a woman named Nora Freeze, and she got sick of this cancer called McGregor syndrome, which is like, Alfred ends up getting that too, but that was a joke, I think, named after the producer of this movie, but inside joke. But Mr. Freeze, was able to put her in water to keep her stable, just from her, he wanted to cure her, but he didn't put her in water, I'm sorry, he falls in this icy water, the accident happens in his lab, and you see him fall in this water, and if he survives, the liquid is 50 below, and it freezes his body, gets his hair thrown off, you see him like, and it just makes him cold. So Mr. Freeze, the thing about him, though, he has to live under sub-zero temperatures. He has to live at sub-zero temperatures. He has to live in the cold. He only wears his suit when he's out in action or whatever, or fighting Batman and Robin or whatever. But when he's not, when he's just relaxing, he has to live under sub-zero temperature. Or if he lives out in the heat without it, he will die. It will kill him. He would die immediately from it. They say, so if it's ice, the Iceman wants, as Bruce says, Alfred, and Alfred's like, checking the batch, he's like, coming, sir? Yes, sir? We need the Wayne Diamonds. We need the Wayne Diamonds. And and then, we're going to catch ourselves. The Snowman is like, yes, we are. Right after you spend in the simulating room training, like, look, I made a mistake, okay? This is why I didn't. I know people complain about this movie, but I will come defend it. But here I won't, because him saying, see, me standing here, I'm fine. I mean, when are you going to trust me? I'm like, okay, that's being a little wino right there. And yeah, I'm kind of on Batman's side. That was stupid for him to jump and get Mr. Freeze to kill him. I'm like, but again, you have to see Robin as a teenager. He is reckless, doesn't think, doesn't stop and think like Batman does. He just jumps into situations without thinking. And Batman tells Alfred, well, I can't trust him. He's eager, impulsive, just can't trust him. But and then I like the way Alfred says, though, Master Dick follows the same star as you do, but gets there by his own course. You must learn to trust him, sir, because that is, trust him. For that is the nature of him. But I trust you, Alfred. And Alfred's like, but I won't be here forever, sir. Forever. And Bruce is like, good night, Alfred. And there's a good moments between here and Alfred and Bruce, which I'll get to later, but Bruce just walks away. You can tell something maybe he's wrong with Alfred. He just kind of can tell, I guess you can say. But he has a memory. I think he can tell right away, because he walks out of Alfred's room and into his, sees, like the hallway, and he's having, you have flashbacks of Bruce as a kid and Alfred younger, where Bruce as a flashback of him as a little kid running and falling down the stairs, not down the stairs, but falling and hurting his legs, and Alfred saying, to little Bruce Wayne, oh, it's okay, little master, just taking care of him, and kind of makes him smile. This film does not focus on the parents. I do like it that it focuses on one of the best things about it is I like that it focuses between the relationship between Alfred and Bruce. Their kind of grandfather-grandson kind of relationship. That's the way I've always seen their relationship. And I like the film focuses on that. But anyway, after that, you have Dr. Woodrow in Osley's office after killing her, talking about, selling the Bane. He wants to create an army of Bane to rule the world, basically, for his crazy ideas. After he killed Osley, he's like, yes, let the world, bless and toxins take you to a world that you love so much. Fellow maniacs, bidding begins now, But I told him funny, here's this thing, here's the earth, here's shaking down on the floor, and then all of a sudden, Poison Ivy emerges, and he falls to his knees like, Pamela Isley? He was like, hello, Jason. She flirts with him and stuff, and then she begins to do something. He's so attracted to her beauty, he falls to his knees, and she's talking about how the plants made her different and changed her, so she grabs him, and they share a kiss. And after kissing him, Ivy has this evil smile on her face when she's kissing him, and afterwards, like, they filled my lips, and then she kisses him, and afterwards, with venom, and he's like, because he's been just poisoned. He's like, oh, and Jason, one other thing, I'm poisoned. Falls down. He's like, it's a jungle in here. And then she destroys her life. He's like, Mother Nature, her arm, her will is strong. She's like, hell, I am Mother Nature, and the time has come back for plants to take over those earth. My ultimate goal here is to turn the world basically into a giant garden. Just plants are rule, people should die. That's how she feels, that she should take control. And then before she throws like a glass, she's like, Wayne Enterprises, maybe talk to Bruce Wayne or something about it. When she found out he was talking about Wayne Enterprises, she decides to go to Gotham City, talk to Bruce Wayne. And she gets banners, she's like, coming, Bane Dog, we have a plane to catch. Well, I heard to get on a plane, you don't see it on screen, but she probably seduced a man, took his limousine by kissing him. They escaped on an airplane. She's got a good disguise, but Bane, come on, a guy with a mask like that, just wears a hat and a coated jacket, not much of a cover. And then you go to Mr. Freeze's lair, you listen to this song, I do like it, and it's like, he's Mr. They listen to the Snow Miser song, it's probably from like an old cartoon, Mr. Snow Miser, he's Mr. Snow, or Mr. Freeze, like, wearing polo pair of slippers, he's like, come on, sing, come on, sing, come on. I was like, and then Vivica Fox is, she's trying to flirt with Mr. Freeze. It's like, I would, stay warm or whatever, just to be with you. It's like, my passion flows my power on top of your cold shoulder. And he's like, Frosty! But along with that, exhausting my power to my suit. But with the new giant diamond, tell Frosty his plan of, he's gonna hold City for ransom, first they'll give, and then they go give him the billions that I need to complete my research, so I can find a cure. Leave us, when he called him. Apparently he put his wife, like in a freezing chamber, a water chamber. And I do like the music here though for it, when he's like, we will be together soon, we will be together soon, And then you have Ever's niece, Barbara Wilson, who's from England, but she has an American accent, so whatever. And she's just, they try to tell Alfred, she knocks on the door. Alfred, Bruce is like, Alfred's like, I'm sorry, sir, Mr. Doe's open. Alfred, it's the first time it happened in 30 years, and, Barbara comes in, because, Dick opens the door and is like, please look for us. Actually, I'm looking for Alfred Pennyworth. She's like, Uncle Alfred. She hugs Alfred, and they tell her that, she's the daughter of my dear sister Margaret. But then there's a scene where Alfred says that she's not his niece. I don't know, I was confused with that, because he does mention Metropolis, so I guess Superman does exist in this world, so I guess they cut out that Superman reference, or just didn't want to wanted to make sense more why she's his niece. Bruce is able to tell the patch on the sweater where she's from. She sees Big Spike. She's like, I want to ride that now. Bruce's like, you're son of a no, don't worry, I don't care about these things. Bruce is like, Barbara, I hope you can stay with us. Oh, I don't want to intrude. No, you can stay. And, Alfred's like, but sir, we do get so busy here. Nonsense, Alfred. She's family, and family can stay. And they just smile. Then you see Poison Ivy putting on the disguise of, her alter ego, Dr. Pamela Isley, and you have Bruce Wayne and his girlfriend Julia. They're, talking about this telescope. My father said, I do like Fleming says. My father said, we all have to pick a star and follow it, and future generations can do that. As he's building this telescope, they can see into the sky and stuff, which is cool. Dr. Pamela Isley was thinking, go to Bruce and explain to him about what the proposal about the plants. And she's like, well, people would die from hunger alone. People go first, Dr. Isley. And she goes up on this rant, which is really getting over the top. A day of reckoning is coming. You blacken the skies. And she goes over the top, and she's like, she tells the audience, people, it's like, a day of reckoning is coming. And there will be no one here to protect you, and everyone's just laughing at her like she's crazy. And, Gossip Girl tells her, Batman and Robin protect us, eat from plants and flowers. And she's like, and she tells them about the botanist. And I realized that Batman and Robin could be a threat to her, could be an enemy to face, so she decides to use her seduction powers on them. She's like, first I'll get rid of them, and then Gotham will be mine for the greening. And Mr. Freeze is watching a video of him and his wife, like a wedding video. And I know he does say the cheesy one-liners, the ice puns, but he does listen to it like everybody's just watching his wife, and I like the emotion on his face, just almost wanting to cry, but he can't, because anytime he cries, the tear will turn into ice and blow away. So he can't even cry, can't really even show emotion, because of his cold heart, And, Frosty comes as his boss. I got something here you want to see, Mr. Freeze, like, freezes him, freezes him. Like, I hate when people talk during the movie. That is something I wish I could do when I hear people in theaters just talking movies. I just want to freeze them, No, I don't mean that. I mean, like, freeze them with a freeze gun. Because I do hate it when people talk during movies too, Mr. Freeze. I agree with you on that. But, Mr. Freeze, just looking at the wedding video of his wife again, of them, like, eating cake and stuff, and, he sees his wife just sitting down with a necklace on. He's like, one more giant diamond, my love. One more. And then, comes by Frosty sees new people like Bruce Wayne diamonds. How very nice. And then you have this charity ball going on, and Batman and Robin are just there as guest stars. Just shaking hands. So, again, I do agree, Bruce Wayne doesn't change his voice at all, which is fine. I mean, he's not a dark Batman. I do agree he's a kind of Batman, but as Bruce Wayne, he can be jokey and stuff, and, have that charm, that billionaire playboy charm to him. But as Batman, he's up and serious, even if he says corny one-liners. But he is different when he's playing the two characters. But anyway, Poison Ivy and Bane are wearing monkey suits, and Poison Ivy goes up to the crowd. They see this monkey dancing with this music. She's dancing, takes the glove off, reveals her face. Batman finds suspicion, but Robin is like, fine, is very attracted to her, like the girl in my dreams, and Poison Ivy just uses her love dust on them. Batman seems to ignore it, that Robin falls for it. And then, she looks pretty beautiful here, I'm not gonna lie, can't see her, but yeah, she's got that green suit on, and, walks up to the stage, seductively, And, she's like, hi there. He's like, and they're like, who are you? She's like, Poison Ivy. And she just sees Batman and Robin. Batman doesn't follow what Robin does. And men start, betting on her. And then Batman and Robin start gambling her. It's like, that's a utility belt, not a money belt. $6 million. Like, you don't have it. I'll borrow it for you. And then I know people hate this. The Bat credit card comes out. And I'm just kidding. I find that funny. Yes, like I said, it's cheesy. But I can laugh at the Bat credit card. I think it's funny. And Batman's like, never leave the cave without it. And Mr. Freeze comes in, but his Freeze mobile, and Freeze is like, okay, chill everybody, chill. And then freezing people. Batman and Robin fight with Freeze's thugs. I do like the move when Robin is able to, kind of do a backflip and kick both men. Batman does like some of the cool kicks. And, Robin throws a tape. Kind of like almost throws a plate like a frisbee, and it's like, yeah, when he knocks him down, and Batman's able to grab the table, or not a table, but punch one of Mr. Freeze's men, and he's like, this, good night, and Batman and Robin watches Mr. Freeze again, right there, it's like, cool party, because he's able to, Poison Ivy's impressed by him, saying that maybe he could be an aid to helping her. So she's fascinated by him, and she tries to use her seductive powers on Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze like, Pheromone dose, decide the heat of man's blood. Doesn't work on a cold-hearted. Now, if you please, the suit. The diamond. Clover, little Clover. Well, that's my execute. Then he gets out, and Batman tells Commissioner Gordon again, who is I forgot to mention, dressed up like Chief O'Hara from the Batman '60s TV show. He's like. Commissioner Gordon, you have 11 minutes to thaw these people. And then Robin just looks at Poison Ivy, and Poison Ivy just blows him a kiss or whatever in a seductive way, blows him a kiss, and Batman just grabs him, like, come on. And they chase him in the Batmobile and the red motorcycle. Mr. Freeze is driving through the traffic, him and his men. There's this tall statue of a naked man. Well, you don't see the man naked, but a tall statue. They were going through the side of him by Mr. Freeze freezing the statue and jump through it. And they're gonna, go down the arm and jump through that. Batman's like, Robin, you're not gonna make it. Pull back. And Robin's like, I can make it. Pull back. It's like, I can make it. And then Batman is like, Red Blood controls. Disable engines. And it does disable as Mr. Freeze, and then Batman makes it. And Robin, disables it. And he's like, Robin's like, ah! Because he gets mad for Batman doing that. Batman jumps there. Mr. Freeze takes the opportunity to try to kill Batman. It's like it's a cold town, and freezes the Batmobile. Batman's able to check out of it, and the Batmobile gets damaged. And Mr. Freeze is like, and he's like, because Batman comes jumping, flying right through the Freeze mobile and knocks Freeze out, and then he's just on top of Freeze. Freeze knocked down and pretty much captured him. And Robin fusses at Batman. I could have made that jump, and you could have spotted your parental ability. And he tells Bruce, Bruce, sometimes, I do like this saying, what he says in the movie, sometimes telling another person is the only way you win. We gotta have trust, this isn't a partnership, you won't even trust me. And Batman, you can say he's pig-headed and a hard ass, because he tells him, it's my rules, my way, the highway, and you will abide with them. You don't like it? Oh well. It's like, this isn't a partnership. You don't ever trust me. And Batman comes up to Alfred, and Bruce said, Alfred says, congratulations. It's like, Alfred, am I pig-headed? Am I my way? I was like, well, yes, sir. Death and chance stole your parents, but to avoid it, it's really good dialogue. He's like, you can't control death, Master Wayne. It's like, no, I can't. I was like, none of us can control death, sir. And I like this shot that when he looks and you see another flashback of Alfred and Bruce, putting flowers at Thomas and Martha Wayne's grave. Mr. Freeze ends up in Arkham Asylum. They have to put him literally they put him in a refrigerator because if they slump it there and heat him out there. Take him to his cell, And of course it's frozen, which is a place for him to sit under, which is ice. Again, he can only live under sub-zero temperatures. And he's like, come on out, Freeze. He's like, my name is Freeze. Learn it well, for it's the chilling sound of your doom. Then he just knocked them out, hit them, and then not Batman, Freeze tries to run out, and then just, because again, he's not receptive, being out in the normal world, he just, is in the heat, and he's like, and he's like, and the officer, the Garcia was like, alright, Freeze, you can't leave the cold zone. But people are like, you're going to be here a long, long time. It's like, Mr. Freeze like, sadly, you won't be living long enough to see it. You won't live alone to see it. He's like, oh yes. And then, I like, the scene where Julie and Bruce are having dinner. She talks to Bruce about marriage, but he's like, telling him about his life is complicated. He rejects her because, basically fears for her safety. And she was to talk to him a little more about it, about getting married. Meanwhile, he has a kind of like a vision, or a vision like of Poison Ivy, just seeing Poison Ivy's there, because I guess you can say he is attracted to her. When she used the love dust on him, I think it affected Batman too. And Bruce is sitting there just because he's thinking about Ivy. He does find her attractive. He starts looking in his eyes, And Julie tells him to think it over. She gives Bruce a kiss, and Bruce imagines seeing that. So Julie, that it's Ivy he just kissed, and he's like, Ivy. Well, I'm not going to say it, but, Julie's like, you call me Ivy. Who's Ivy? He's like, I wish I knew. And you have Dick just looking her up, and I forgot to mention that Dick was, Barbara took the bike out, took one of the motorcycles out. She tries to, Dick sticks, just kind of tap on her. She, just does his movement. Like, sorry, judo class, defense class for girls. England's tough. Is like, I'm sorry, I took the bike. And he finds it suspicious of why she took the bike. I do like the moment though. Well, we see her sneaking out of the house first. With going in her room, pretending like she's going to bed, and having a conversation with Alfred. Alfred tells her since that he's sick that he's looking for his brother Wilfred, who he probably wants to take his job of being the butler at the Wayne Manor, just in case if he dies, to help them, basically, if he's not going to be around anymore. As, Alfred would have a backup plan, I guess, as you say. But, and then Robin follows her when he sees her. I guess they have a tracking device or something on those motorcycles. Robin follows her, Dick follows her, puts on the Robin helmet, She makes a deal with this guy about riding a motorcycle. They drive a motorcycle. Then they have a nice motorcycle. I like the motorcycle race here, the dirt bike race. I thought that was fun. The guy nice and step down and goes, not bad for a check, But Barbara and Dick, fall to their bikes when the fire happens. They're about to fall to the depths until Dick is able to grab his leg on a pipe and save her, and then he does like, so this is where you've been hanging out, And then the back shot of it, though, of her head, and it looks really bad, and yeah, there's just some shots in this movie that look completely unfinished, and that's one of them, but, she tells her that she's not going to school anymore. She tells Dick that, this whole servant thing, it really needs to stop. And he's like, what are you talking about? Bruce and Alfred are like family, paying someone to do your dishes, your laundry, you call that family? He's like, you honestly don't know, dude. He's like, no. Alfred's sick. And Bruce tells Dick, he's not sick, he's dying. Alfred's dying, what are we going to do? He's like, if you know Alfred, he won't say anything, but I can tell. Then Ivy pretty much, I do like the scene though, in those serious moment, Mr. Freeze is when he, kind of makes like a little ice snow globe, of his wife, and they would put like a music box out of it, and it's just looking at it, just staring at it, and then they say, hey, Freezy, your sister's here, see, and then Mr. Freeze is like, sister? because he doesn't have a sister. Then his Poison Ivy, and this was one of the girls was Jesse Ventura, who was he was in 2 other movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and that was Predator and The Running Man. But they were distracted by Ivy. Like, Miriam, you can speak freely. So, I don't mind you at all. She used her low dose on them. Men, the worst of God's creatures. They give you life, and we just take it away. And they of course, don't give a shit. They're just falling for her beauty. And she tells them that she's to die for. She kisses the one guard, kills him with a poisonous kiss, and then the other guard, just a jerk, reacts. She just grabs him and forces a kiss on him and kills him. And she's like, Mr. Freeze, just to show off to him. And Mr. Freeze is like, impressive. I was like, I've come to set you free. I oppose a partnership. And I was like, Mr. Freeze, an enticing offer, but what does the lady want in return? Let's cool it for now. And she sent Bane, which you see Riddler and Two-Face's suits, because they keep villain suits there, I guess, that Batman has captured. Bane breaks in there and takes the Mr. Freeze's suit, and she opens the door and unlocks it. They're like, his name is Bane. A service pack that can live with. Wow! She's like, Mr. Freeze, she's like, what are you, Mr. She's like, a 50 big and toes. Like, no, article size slimmer. She's like, And then the cops are about to break in, and Freeze is like, realizes he has no power within his suit, so he can't do nothing. She tries to get Bane to break down the wall, but it's forced steel, and the Bane can't break it. So Mr. Freeze decides to freeze the pipes. He's like, always winterize your pipes. It works, and he tells him that, we gotta go back to get my suit, take my place, and give my wife. They're like, you never said anything about a wife. And they just jump in the water. And how about Mr. Bane can swim? And then, cops come, but Bane is able to jump at the last minute. Back to Wayne Manor, Bruce and Alfred talk about, Alfred's sickness. He's like, Alfred, are you feeling okay? He's like, a gentleman does not discuss his illness. It's just not proper. My friend, I know you're sick. I can get the best doctors. I've seen the best doctors. And he tells him, my only regret is, Master Bruce, I wasn't able to fight it with him. He's like, not all heroes wear a mask. And Alfred smiles. And then Dick comes in and says, he says, Freeze has escaped. And, of course, they, we jump in action as Batman and Robin and go to Freeze's lair and talk with, and then, they see the security camera that Ivy and Bane were there. That Poison Ivy is definitely evil, as they can see that now. And he's like, well, Ivy, why would she help Freeze? Batman says, I was like, well, she's definitely evil. Evil, bad guy? No. I'm totally over it. Me too. Nice stems, though. Very buns as well. Those are nice, So that was fun. Then they open that secret patch for Batman and Robin do, and they see Freeze's wife, the water that she's in, and Mr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy are under the vent, watching them. Mr. Freeze is like, I can't take them all, I'm not sure that burn. Poison was like, leave those boys to me, go, get your stuff, get your diamonds, Alfred, Batman and Robin, Batman's able to find out that, they talk about, he's able to keep able to keep his wife alive. He's found a cure for her McGregor syndrome disease. They try to talk about it, and then Poison Ivy's love dust comes to them. They're like, Ivy, so they follow it, and they say, no beauty, only the beast. Because Bane shows up. Robin tries to go punch Bane, but Bane grabs his arm and tosses him away over him. And Robin, Batman kicks Bane, and Bane is throwing these punches, and Batman is just kind of moving down and blocking his shots. And then, Poison Ivy tries to go, comes to Robin. He's like, hello, pretty birdie. He's like, give yourself up now. He's like, to you. And she uses a low dose, almost kisses Robin. Before also, Bane knocks Batman down on these bags, and Robin tries to go fight him, and Bane just picks him up, is choking him. Batman, Poison Ivy tries to do him. He's like, why are the gorgeous ones always homicidal maniacs? Is it me? enough sweet toast just, and Batman's like, no, doesn't fall for it, grabs her, is like, her arm is like this. First, you're going to send me freezes, and then you're going to jail. It's like, I'm a lawyer, not a fighter. That's why every Poison Ivy action figure comes complete with him, you know. And Bane just chokes Batman after he, just punch Robin out. Batman's able to kind of let Bane down, and Ivy goes to Robin, she's like, stop, and then uses love dust, and tells him that, you want your own Robin sitting on the sky, I can help you, let me guide you, Robin. And Batman, grabs like a pipe or whatever and knocks Bane out with it. And she's very close to kissing Robin. She's like, let me kiss you, Robin. And Robin and her about to share a kiss, and Batman's like, stop! Poison, toxins introduced to the mouth. I think she's allergic to kiss. Poison's kiss, so Robin does not listen because he's completely under her spell. Poison Ivy just slowly walks away. And then Robin's like, you know what, you're jealous. You're jealous because you couldn't get her. Because it's something you can't have. He's like, always jealous, and then pushes Batman, and Batman pushes him, and they start fighting a bit, tries to punch Batman, but Batman knocks him into a, kind of like a giant ice cream bowl or something, I don't know, but it's like, it's like green ice he knocks him into, he gets green slime, and Batman helps him out, he's like, pushes him, like, I don't need your help anymore, I'm going solo, and then, Gordon comes in and tells Batman, where'd they go, how'd they get away, and Batman's like, and then Poison Ivy betrays Mr. Freeze by going to Freeze's wife, her water capsule, and kicks it, damaging it, pretty much that can kill her. And Ivy's like, I've just never been good with competition. Who needs a frigid wife anyway? And so she's able to grab the necklace, and Mr. Freeze is coming in, for himself in her lair. She's like, make yourself right at home, Mr. Freeze, and he's like, where's my wife? I couldn't do nothing, there's nothing I can do. Batman deactivated it, Batman killed your wife. He's like, you lied. He's like, she sees the necklace, and Mr. Freeze is like, oh no. And then just, closes his eyes, almost want to cry, tear coming down, he's like, the bones will enter into us! And he's like, the blood will freeze in my hands! Kill them, of course, but why stop there? Why should only Batman and Robin just die when the society that created them goes unpunished? Yes, if I must suffer, humanity must suffer with me. First, this snow-level Gotham goes, Gotham, and then the world! And Poison was just what I had in mind. Just what I had in mind. Both of us, Adam and Evil, to stop. She's like a chance for Mother Nature to start over. She shows them, her world for taking over, plans to take over. Like, once you're done freezing Gotham City, these babies will overrun the globe. For we shall be the only two people left in the world. Yeah. And Mr. Freeze and her decide to get their revenge on Gotham City. And Freeze says, you distracted Batman while I prepare to freeze Gotham. And then, with his hands, breaks the snow globe when he says it in anger. Later you see a doctor checking on Alfred at Wayne Manor, telling him that it's McGurk, the cancer. And they say, sorry, all we can do is just keep him safe. Alfred and Bruce talk. Then I go after, I'm going to the Gotham Observatory party or whatever. Then I go after Freeze and Ivy along with and Robin tells, Dick tells Bruce, I'm tired of living in your shadow, alright? I want a Robin sitting on the sky. All that ends tonight. And, even Alfred, Bruce seeing Alfred sick, just, goes to the party, goes to see Julia, and then Poison Ivy's plan is to eventually Bruce and Julia are talking to Gus Gertie and Commissioner Gordon. Pamela is able to the party as well. Again, Poison Ivy using a video to Pamela. And this time, I think more like Ivy though, as Commissioner Gordon. I wonder where's that vaccine come from? He was able to use her blood dose on him. Why, it's up in Gotham Police Headquarters. Would you like to see it? He was like, do you have access to it? My dear, I am the Commissioner of the police. Would you like to see it? You know, he says that in a weird way. And this is the last time we see him as Commissioner Gordon. But, you know, she used to touch the president with that kiss, and then she does take the keys, because he willingly gives them to her, and she's like, about to kiss, you know, give a poison kiss to Commissioner Gordon's like, other hand, you're way too old for me. And I thought it was funny when, you know, him still, Commissioner Gordon was like, no, I'm not. Please, come back. And then, you know, even Bruce can smell the love dust as well, when the Ivy's there. And Ivy and Bang go to police headquarters, they go on top of police headquarters to the bat signal, and, you know, Bang just is able to use his strength to knock it up a bit to make it like turn into a Robin signal, because they take it, and, you know, Bruce is at the Bat Cave. Well, before we see that though, we see Bruce talking to Alfred, seeing how he's doing. And he's like, I can't, you know, all the things I can do, I can't save you. He's like, there's no defeating death, Master Bruce, you know. And as we go on, what we still love, there's a good line of dialogue. And then Alfred sees, you know, like, Bruce sees another flashback of Alfred reading him as a child, and him smiling, and then him smiling, like, crying almost, like, tells Alfred, I love you, old man. And Alfred's like, I love you, too, and just kind of gives, you know, Alfred a hug, you know. That scene kind of touched me. It was heartbreaking for me, you know, because, like I said, I like that the film touches upon the relationship between Alfred and Bruce. I know some people complain about Alfred dying, but again, I thought this is one of the aspects of the film that works, because it shows the relationship and how much Alfred means to Bruce, you know, because again, when Bruce's parents were murdered, Alfred was the only parental figure he had, you know. Alfred's a butler, yes, but, you know, he's more than that to Bruce. He is his family, the only family he had before, you know, Robin, or, you know, before Dick or Barbara came in the picture, you know. I'd give him a hug and just kind of just smiling at him. I thought that was a sweet moment, a very heartbreaking moment. To me it was, you know, a tender moment. But anyway, after that, Bruce talks to Dick, who was in his Robin suit, tells him it's a Robin signal. It's another bat signal. It's like, she wants to kill you, Dick. I was like, you just don't trust me. But eventually he's able to convince Robin. Eventually, everybody convinces like this. He's like, listen. You know, tells him sorry. Says, look, you know, brother, partner, friend, will you trust me now? And Robin says to, of course, trust him. They come up with this plan, and we don't know it at first, but Robin goes over, you know, because it's toward where Ivy's garden is at. You know, Robin walks in there, and Ivy's wearing this, like, pink suit or whatever. It's like, is your thumb the only part of that screen? He's like, you have to find out. It's like, if you're, you know, Poison Ivy, if you're ready to turn over a new leaf, get it? The pun? Turn over a new leaf? It's like, let me see something. She's like, that's something, but I was like, well, you know, where's Freeze? You know, kiss me out there. He's like, well, tell me then I'll kiss you. He's like, okay. She tells him, Alfred, you know, Ivy tells Robin that Freeze is, you know, at the laboratory with the giant freezing him. Very turn Gotham into a giant ice box. So I have stuff. He's like, kiss my dear for luck. And she kisses Robin. It has that evil grin on his face. Kisses him. He's like, oh, that was my time to die, little Robin. But then Robin shows up his ace up his sleeve, where he's like, well, rubber lips, you know, which protected him from a poison kiss. Instead of forcing a second kiss on him, which she could have done, she just pretty much like breaks up with him, as you can say, gets mad and pushes Robin in this water, that this water's grabbing down. That was like, you know, they want to set a trap, Venus. And, you know, she's like, my vines have a crush on you, and the vines grab him. And Barbara, who Alfred, I forgot to mention, was telling her about, you know, this disc, and she looks into this disc, found out that the secret password is Peg, sorry, and people say it's a joke every she goes back, which I could somewhat see, but I was fine with it. You know, she gets into the Batcave, and Alfred has a simulation of it, like, and Trilla identified Alfred, it's me. I was like, oh my dear, I created this simulation, you know, it was like, I want to help Batman and Robin. I anticipated you would. If we did something interesting, so he created a Batgirl. And Robin, I do agree, and Batman Forever gets voted, but in here, I'm like, no. Maybe maybe Alfred was a mechanic in his lifetime. I don't know. Alfred's history to me is pretty interesting, but I'd rather not know it. But she puts on her Batgirl suit, and like I said, where was that producer? Where Batman and Robin being trapped in the water, and Batman being trapped by, almost getting killed by Ivy's vines. Batgirl jumps to the skylight, like, you're about to become compost. And she puts up a good fight. And she tells, after knocking Ivy, it's like using feminine looks to get what you want. That doesn't, read a book, sister, that went out a long time ago. And, Ivy tries to, use like a vine as a swing to just attack her, and, then gets a knife out. I like to go, she takes her hooks, and then she tries to stab Batgirl, and Batgirl's up to kicking her to a plant, and the plant traps, she's like, no! And then, and Batman's like, to Batgirl, who are you? He's like, Bruce, it's me, Barbara. So she knows who we are. I guess we just have to kill her. Yeah, we'll kill her. We got work to do. And meanwhile, Mr. Freeze, in that time, Freeze and Bane, go to the Gotham Observatory. They freeze these two scientists that I'm sure is working there. And Freeze says up, it's like, I like the music score, but they go on here when, Bane is setting up the bombs. And Freeze is like, if revenge is this bitch of cold, then put on your finest Sundays. It's time to feast! It's time to feast. And he's like, then the diamond works and starts turning the Gotham Observatory and starts freezing it. And it turns on the giant, turns the telescope into a giant freezing gun, and Mr. Freeze is like, tonight, hell freezes over. She was laughing. And then as Batman and Robin and them are ready to come, Freeze says, let's kick some ice. And then he starts freezing Gotham City, freezing the citizens, even freezing a dog that's taking a piss, a bulldog taking a piss. Freezing these cops, and freezing the city's like, yes, yes! And Batman and Robin are on their way. The toys are driving, and Batman's like, looking at the giant clouds, like, we have less than 11 minutes to thaw the city. And Mr. Freeze is one of his guards to stop them. In his Freeze mobile, but this Doug can't shoot worth the shit, because he's trying to shoot these, ice blizzards at them, and he's missing, Batgirl has to jump off her cycle and jump on Robin's, and Robin's like, no, and Batman's able to, go up to him, with his Basky or whatever. They're now wearing like Arctic back suits, I guess to keep their body temperatures warm or whatever, but he tries to freeze Batman's Basky, but Batman's able to reflect it and freeze the Freeze-mobile and knock the guy out, and then of course go down there and Batman, Mr. Freeze can see through the telescope like a giant eyeglass and tells Bane, you kill the kids, but leave me the bat. And Bane's like, or something like that. Bane just goes, and makes noises in this movie, but anyway. Then they make it there, they use their batarangs and stuff to the bat grapples to fly up there. He was like, where's the Iceman? Maybe he melted. No, he's just hibernating. And then they, Batman uses these heater thaws to unfreeze the two scientists, because they could die. So Batman, they check the satellites that they have to re-immerse them. If they can re-immerse the satellites, refine them or whatever you want to call it. The time beat won't work because this is frozen, so Batgirl and Robin freeze it, but Mr. Freeze shows up in the ice glass and he's like, tonight's forecast, a freeze is coming, and then attacks Batman, pushes him over, is able to, knock him down. Batman and Robin and Batgirl fall, Batman's just hanging on to the, to the freeze gun, while Batman, the giant freeze on, while Batgirl and Robin are falling. But Robin's like, I got you, and so he uses the Batgirl to save him, but his fell because it lands on, and Batgirl shoots up hers, and she's like, no, I got you. And meanwhile, they end up bringing in Bane, and Bane just grabs both of them and starts choking them, freezing, Batman's able to, kind of like, I like that scene where he, like, lays down like a bat, hangs like a bat, is able to jump down and shoot a batarang to go up, and, goes up like this, and kicks Freeze and starts to redo the satellites, and, after Bane gets taken out very easily because Batgirl and Robin just kicked the venom out of his head, kicked the venom, and he just, goes right into it, just, and Mr. Freeze and Batman just have this fight where Batman's just giving these punches and kicks and stuff, while every time, he tries to get, Mr. Freeze tries to get Batman away, he tries to redo the satellites, while Batman knocks him out with the satellites. It was like kind of over again. I'm sorry, this fight was just lame. And at the end of the fight, Freeze grabs Batman, chokes him, and then Batman puts a heater on him, and he's like, hey, Freeze, the heat is on, and then punches him, and then he's able to redo the satellites, and, get it to work, and the heat Batman turns on the heat, excuse the pun, and gets the gun to become a giant heat gun, and freezes some of the cities, like, you've lost Freeze, because he's got a backup, Freeze has a backup plan, which are these free guns, like, I think not Batman, bombs away, Batman, and it's just blowing up and stuff, and Freeze is getting all the heat on, he's dying, he's like, Freeze is like, Freeze, need help, Batman, and Batman jumps down, as the giant gun is falling down, Robin and Batgirl see it, and they decide to pray for it not to happen. Batman saves these two scientists, which they're annoying, by the way. At first they were okay in the movie, but, here they're, like, saying these pointing lines, like, get him, Batman, oh, no, I was like, you did it, Batman, now Batman, help, and then Batman, just grabbing the bed. They use the same music, when Batman saved Doug, Trish Marie, and Robin and Batman Forever. It's good music, but it didn't work here because these two are annoying. I would let it slip and follow their deaths, but that's just me. I'm just kidding. Batman does save them and puts them on the bed like, thank you, Batman, thank you, and he tells Robin and Batman, need a ride? Picks them up, and they say that the city's not still frozen, so they have to still figure out a way to get it done more, redirecting this out completely. Robin says, we gotta do everything inside. It's like, and the Batgirl's like, man, everything the hard way. And he's like, you're pretty good, this little girl. Or watching another little boy have that was funny banter between them. And Batgirl ends up doing it and saving the day, and they save the day, and they all look at, and Gotham, everybody gets unfrozen, Gotham gets saved, and they just look in, and Batgirl's smiling, and like, and Batman's like, looks like it's gonna be a beautiful day, And goes over to Mr. Freeze, and is like, I'm taking you back to Arkham. And Freeze is like, okay, kill me too. Kill me, just like you did my wife. And this is one of the best scenes of the movie, one of the best moments in the movie, in my opinion, and that is when, he says to Mr. Freeze, your wife isn't, I didn't kill your wife. And then he shows him this video he got of, finding out that I betrayed him, saying, as I told Lady, when she was fighting Batgirl, as I told Lady Freeze, that was a portable, this is a one-woman show. And then Freeze is like, angry. Batman's like, she's not dead. We found her, restored her, she's still alive. And I like that moment. What's this moment here, though? And he's like this again. She lives. You see finally some tears going down his eyes, and it's like, Batman's like, but vengeance isn't power. Anyone can take a life. That's the power but to give life, that's true power, a power you once had. And then Batman kneels down to him and asks Mr. Freeze, like, so I'm asking you, Dr. Victor Freeze, help me save another life. Show me how to cure McGregor stage 1, and maybe you could save the life of your wife once loved. He's still inside you, Victor, buried deep beneath the snow. Will you help me, Doctor? And Freeze decides to help Batman, gets the cure up to cure the sickness, and he's like, take 2 of these. and call me in the morning. And, you know, him and Freeze have a good trust, build up a friendship here. And, you know, and Batman's like, I'll have your wife move to Arkham. You'll be able to continue your research there. And then they just give each other looks, and Mr. Freeze like, I like that moment in the movie. One of the best moments in the film. And really a great performance by George Clooney there. Mr. Freeze is goes like Arkham, but, you know, Batman made no trust to him. Mr. Like George Clooney is wearing Val Kilmer's suit at the end of the movie when they ridicule Alfred's like, all we can do is wait and see what happens, you know. So they have to wait till the morning. But Mr. You know, Poison Ivy's in prison, you know, eating flowers, right? And he's just saying, he loves me not, he loves me. And then Mr. Freeze like comes in like, not, congratulations, I'm your new cellmate. She's happy at first, and he's like, I've come to make your life a living hell. And Ivy realizes that Freeze knows that what she did, and she's just scared. She's like, oh. You know, and Freeze is like, winter has come at last. And she's just scared because Freeze is going to torture her, basically, get his revenge on her. And at the end, you know, the ending trailer of the movie is, you know, Bruce taking Barbara waiting, and Alfred shows up and is like, Alfred, how you feeling? Bruce says, and is like, I could have taught you about a proper house clean. And quite well, it seems, thanks to you, and gives him a hug. And Bruce says, you know, Alfred, you know, Dick tells Bruce, Dick's like, why didn't you try to catch us? Me and Batman are like, well, I figure you can handle it. Sometimes, Dick, you have to trust counting another person the way to win. Counting another person is the only way you win. And, you know, he tries to tell, you know, Barbara's like, I kicked that girl, you know, I kicked that girl. She's like, I kicked Ivy Kilmer. I was like, you were going back to school. I was like, Bruce, you're never going to win this argument. And then they decide at the end, partners. And Barbara, you know, Dick is like, partners. And Bruce is like, there's this answer there, is like, partners. And I love this line at the end though. I love it when Alfred says, we're going to need a bigger cave today, you know, and then you have the ending of them, three chairs running out of the back signal at the end. Here. Yeah. Yep. And then that's the end of Batman and Robin. And sadly, pretty much was the end of the franchise for about 8 years. But let me give my final opinion on Batman and Robin, and then when I was watching. Okay. Alright, again, guys, I like Batman and Robin. For me, this film is so bad, it's good. It's not a good movie. In general, it's not. But like I said, there were a lot of good moments in it. There were some, I thought, really good moments in the film to outweigh the bad, in my opinion. I know people are going to get mad and say, this is the worst Batman. I don't agree. I don't think it's one of the worst superhero movies ever. I just think it's one of the superhero films to me that, if it was so bad, so good, there were some superhero films like that. This is definitely probably number one on my list for so bad it's good. Now, this film was bad, but it does have good, serious moments, and it's not dark. It's really family-friendly, but I can have fun with it. It's cheesy, it's corny, it's really family-friendly, it's just bad. And it's like the film knows. It's like behind the scenes, they were being goofy. They just knew that this was going to be bad. It's like the filmmakers, Joel Schumacher knew this movie was not going to be good. I don't blame Joel, you know, but before I get into anything else, what I like about the movie, maybe start with that. I like the cast. I do like Arnold as Mr. Freeze. I think he's funny. Even though he's not the same Mr. Times, I think, you know, part of the performance is good. I do like George Clooney as Bruce Wayne. He's a decent Batman. He does have some of his funny lines, you know. But again, I don't think he is a horrible Batman, in my opinion. Again, I can understand. He's probably my second least favorite, though. Again, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, and even Adam West are better, in my opinion, and Robert Pattinson. Him and Christian Bale are kind of on the same par with me. I knew people were going to be shot by that, but I have my reasons about Christian Bale as Batman. But they both play good Bruce Wayne, and he does play good Bruce Wayne. I like the relationship between him and Alfred. It's one of the best parts of Mr. Freeze's serious moments, and the humor when it's there, I find it funny. I love the cheesy puns. I can just be entertained by it, you know. And, you know, the best thing about the movie, though, is Uma Thurman as President. The disappointing thing with her, though, is, you know, Ivy can handle herself. Ivy should be fighting with her plants. She can control plants and take on Batman and Robin in a fight, you know, but they don't do that here. She's just a seductress. Batgirl, I do like Alicia Silverstone as Batgirl. Again, I'll take her over Ruby Rose as Batwoman. I'll watch this movie over Batwoman any day. Okay? Batwoman sucks. I would rather watch this movie over the Batwoman TV show any day. I'm sorry. To me, that is the worst thing to ever come out of the Batman franchise is Batwoman. Because I fucking hate that show. I hate Ruby Rose as Batwoman. I can't stand her. I would take Alicia Silverstone all day as Batgirl. Now again, the issue with her character, she's not Barbara Gordon. You know, she is not Alfred's niece in the comics. No, they got the character completely wrong. You know, Trisha Marker, he did what he could. You know, the bat nipples are weird, but they don't bother me completely. They're just very weird. You know, and bizarre. You know, the cinematography, the editing, I think is good. The action scenes, while they do have silly cartoon moments, like when I forgot to mention Poison Ivy, when she gets a letter, these men, you know, tell Ivy, these punks, you look good enough to eat that I am. Come and get me if you can. And they use this chain, and you know, Bane kicks a door. I mean, you know, bottom or whatever, and it's a very cartoonish noise, and I'm like, yeah. And I do like the music about like Donald Though. I like the main theme, you know, and I do like the score, especially Mr. Freeze's Revenge. I like that score. So the film does have a good score, I think, and I love the soundtrack. You know, you have a good soundtrack. You have like the end is the beginning, Gotham City. The end is the beginning. The end, Smashing Pumpkins. I like bits of the song, Look Into My Eyes. I like our Kelly song, Gotham City. Bones, Stones, and Harmony, Look Into My Eyes. I thought the number was decent, you know. Look into my eyes and tell me what you see is real. But honestly, I thought the cast was good, and for what they were, I don't think they were terrible. If people say they missed it, I don't think so. Not terribly. You know, I don't mind George Clooney. I think he's a decent Batman. If Bruce Wayne, but I don't think he's awful as people say he is. People say he's just playing George. I'm like, well, he's coming into a fourth movie. He hasn't much to do. Now, the big issues with this movie. Now, I will say, first of all, Bane. I hate Bane in this movie. Bane is just, you know, again, he's Poison Ivy's bitch. He's her pit bull, basically. Bane is just here to be a bodyguard. Bane in the comics, he's intelligent, and he can think for himself. He's intelligent, but he's not a developed character either, so Bane is not that much important character. You didn't need Bane in this movie. He was just forcing her. Batgirl, even though I like Alicia Silverstone, you didn't need her, you know, her being being Alfred's niece. No, she's Commissioner Barbara Gordon. You know, at least the 60s TV show got that right. But I do like Alicia Silverstone. It is kind of ridiculous how she becomes Batgirl, but despite that though, she does look good in the suit and the mask. Even though she shouldn't be wearing a mask like Robin, she should be having a cowl like Batman, because she does have a cowl in the comics and stuff. But hopefully we'll get a better Batgirl, and which Batgirl is getting a movie on HBO Max sometime. I think this year or next year, I don't know. But we will be getting a Batgirl movie, which hopefully do the character more justice. But you know, Uma Thurman, she is very over the top at times with her performance, very over the top and annoying as Pamela Isley. But as Poison Ivy, she is beautiful, she's good to look at. You know, I like the whole thing that she can separate Batman and Robin, but I just think they could have done better writing with her character. You know, some of the writing is just not very good. You know, a lot of this film is just rush. Like I said, there's CGI shots that don't hold up. Some shots that this film is just completely unfinished. You know, and the big issue with Batman and Robin, I've heard one person saying, I agree, it's too many cooks in the kitchen. The studio interfered, toy companies interfered. You know, look, studios, Warner Brothers, should apologize for this movie, not Joel Schumacher, because they screwed up this franchise. To me, parents and Warner Brothers screwed this up. Parents because they complain about Batman Returns, and then here Warner Brothers just wanted to turn it into a toy commercial because they want to make money, make big bucks of selling toys. I'm like, this is not Batman. This is not what Batman should be. Batman is not about selling toy commercials and Happy Meals and, you know, toy companies. No. It's not Batman. But, and same thing with Christian Bale's Batman. It's not, you know, that's not Batman either. But I'll get to that in those next videos. But anyway, yeah. This film is just, it's a bad movie. It's not a good film. But there are some good moments in it. There's some things I like about it. It is the weakest of the trilogy, but I don't think it's the worst Batman movie. In my opinion, I know these people will say unpopular opinion. I don't care. My opinion is always unpopular, but I have the guts and I have the balls to come on here and say it. You know, my video, my channel. You don't like it, you can unsub to me right now. I don't care. then that means you just can't respect my opinion. Well, again, I'm not defending this movie. It is not a good movie. But the problem is, like I said, too many cooks in the kitchen. Studios should not interfere with the making of a movie. The film should have had time. It didn't have time to breathe. But you can definitely tell it is a rushed movie because there are some shots that look unfinished, and even the ending climax, with the fight Mr. Freeze is just lame. You can just tell everything in this movie is just rushed. They rushed into production too quickly. Studios should not interfere. Studios today still interfere with comic book movies. I mean, look at Morbius. I'd rather watch this over this. I'd rather watch this than Morbius. But that's just me. Or the Venom movies. Those films are rushed, and it's just studio interfering. Like they do with the Amazing Spider films or some of the X-Men films. Studio interference sometimes. You can tell studio interfere. Joe Schumacher does take the blame, I think, but he did apologize as well for the movie. I forgive Joe. I don't blame him. He couldn't even get out of it. I think the sad thing is, though, Joe Schumacher, may he rest in peace, he wanted to give a start Batman movie. I think if he had permission, if Warner Brothers didn't get involved, we probably would have had an epic Dark Batman movie. I think George Clooney could have played Dark Batman. If we would have had Batman, it probably would have been a really dark and edgy Batman film. Who knows what could have happened? But we didn't sadly ever get Joe Schumacher. Sadly, he never just got the Batman film he wanted to make, and I don't think he deserves all the criticism for this movie. One of the Batman was probably, but despite that, though, I think it was just a Batman movie made to be a toy commercial just to sell toys, and Batman is not that. So yeah, but despite that, though, for me it's so bad it's good. I can just laugh at it. It's not a good movie. I'm gonna give it kind of a thumbs mixed because I'm mixed on this movie. But I can have fun with it. It's so bad it's good. I can just laugh. It's not a good movie. It's just so bad it's good, in my opinion. I don't really consider it a film called guilty pleasure, but I do like it. I can get enjoyment out of it, But overall, just not a good movie. Just came out at a bad time when superhero movies weren't doing well, and it just came out bad timing. But I don't blame Joe Schumacher. I don't blame the actors. I don't blame people who worked on this movie because, again, they didn't have much to work with. They were being rushed to make the film. So, really no time to breathe. And when many cooks in the kitchen, what are you going to do when you're being rushed to make a film? When the studio is rushing you because they want to sell toys really bad. But I don't know what anymore I can say about Batman and Robin. But to me, I'd rather watch this. This is not the worst movie ever made. So I've seen worse superheroes. I've seen worse movies. There are worse movies out there, people. And you know what I'm talking about because guess what? This Batman Marathon, I'm going to be reviewing some terrible superhero movies that I think make Batman and Robin look like a masterpiece, in my opinion. Yeah, I said it. But anyway, you do have some making of Shadows of the Bat, Part 6, The Cinema Saga of the Dark Knight, Batman Unbound, deleted scene, Alfred's Lost Love, Beyond Batman, production design of the movie, Maximum Overdrive, the vehicles of the movie, Just the Thrill, costumes of the film, the makeup of Batman and Robin, and the visual effects of Batman and Robin, and the heroes and villains, and the music videos you got, like The End Days of the Gang by Smashing Pumpkins, Foolish Games by Jewel, Gotham City, R. Kelly, Look Into My Eyes by Bone Thugs-n-Harmony, all on the special edition. So it is interesting to watch on the making of the movie. But if you want to watch the making of it, if that would interest you more, then definitely get the 2D special edition, for a good price. But Batman and Robin, my rating for the film is, I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars because I can still get enjoyment. I can still have fun with it, despite it being not a good movie. And so for me, it's just so bad it's good. So okay, I'm going to stop saying that. So 3 out of 5 stars and kind of a so-so. So my rating for Batman and Robin is 3 out of 5 stars. So definitely my least favorite of the Tim Burton Joe Schumacher franchise, but it's watchable in my opinion. But anyway, guys, for the next Batman set of reviews, okay, next we will be talking about the Dark Knight trilogy, starting with Batman Begins. So just go ahead and get it on here on my phone anyway. Might as well. Maybe for any time I do review tomorrow. Maybe. Come on, come on. Yes, okay. I'll probably only... God dang it. Yep. But the next Batman review will be Batman Begins. So, which is the 2005 reboot of Batman. So, Batman Begins will be next. So guys, hope you look for my review of the Dark Knight trilogy. Again, starting with Batman Begins. So, and guys, I hope you all let me know in the comments below what you think of Batman. I will not be surprised if you tell me if you hate it. If you hate it, guys, again, this is just my opinion. If you hate this movie, I'm not here to change your opinion. If you hate the film, comment down below. Tell me how much you hate it. You can, if you think it's the worst movie ever, the worst superhero, that's your opinion. I'm not going to agree with you, but but just respect my opinion, respect mine, and I'll respect yours. So we can agree to disagree on this movie. Just be respectful, no trolls. I don't allow that at all. I block that right away. But Batman and Robin, yeah, I see what I said about it. So tell me in the comments down below what you think of this movie, y'all. And look forward to my review of Batman Begins coming up next. So, starting with the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy, starting with Batman Begins. So anyway, guys, have a good day. Stay cool. Alright. Stay cool. I'm just kidding. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you later. Bye-bye. Bye.